All right, today we're going to cover how to develop a good attitude. This is so important because a bad attitude, which a lot of us can intuitively see and a lot of us actually have sometimes, can be really problematic to both your performance and your well-being. Like you feel like shit when you have a bad attitude, you're not feeling good. And sometimes this happens for a whole game or a whole day, depending your area of life. And think of it this way, sometimes it lasts for weeks or months, or even worse, when it starts to become a habit. And it's like anytime something doesn't go your way, you start coping and going back to a bad attitude concept. So this video is going to really break down, how to develop a good attitude. And if you don't know who I am, Dr. Cassie Preston, focus on helping you improve your performance and your well-being by focusing on the mental game, on your mindset and your mental skills. So let's jump in and make sure you subscribe. And we're going to jump right into this how to develop a good attitude. I'm going to share my screen. One of my favorite new things to do helps break down these concepts into a more digestible way so that you can get very clear understanding of what to do and how you can actually implement what seems like a simple concept, have a good attitude, don't have a bad attitude, and make it a bit more tangible in ways so that it sticks. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is make very clear, what is this bad attitude, right? What is that? And then what are kind of the signs? Well, one thing that I also like to say is like, you could also call it like when someone's playing the victim, okay? Or they label themselves as a loser or I suck. And so it's, the kind of symptoms or kind of signs when you're having a bad attitude is anytime you are complaining, okay? Complaining is generally a big sign, red flag, bad attitude. Complaining about your coach or a boss, etc. Huge sign of the wrong attitude. Not gonna help. Secondly, anytime you blame, okay, blaming other people, coworkers, teammates, etc. The ref, a common one. Blaming other things is not going to help you make the most out of your situation. Obviously, if you are also whining or making excuses, these are all common things. And the obvious thing to kind of highlight about this area, this bad attitude concept, is that it's normal. We're going to have these thoughts. What happens is you're staying here for a long period of time. You're not able to let it go and pull yourself out of it. Becomes really problematic. And so we want to learn to let go of this and have most people refer to as a good attitude. So, and again, to really reinforce, you're doing these things, it hurts you. You complain about others, you blaming other people makes you worse at your job, at your performance, at your sport. So we want to learn to not be doing this. And the how-to isn't always easy, but hopefully by the end of this video, I'll get very clear how to let's let go of this bad attitude or victim. Why does it happen to me? All outside in approach, like, oh, they're doing this to me, instead of learning to take responsibility. So that's the first thing I want to make it very clear. That's that end. But the other end of the spectrum, which is like what not a good attitude is, but sometimes there's a lot of confusion and then people will bounce back and forth between this and the bad attitude, is what I would call like, thinking you're just a winner all the time, or the absolute. So, or being positive all the time. So you just think it's all about winning. Okay, you're a winner. You are, trying to be super positive all the time. You want to be perfect, right? You want to like focus on being perfect. I think you're the best. It's all these fantasies. It's another key word. It's like, I'm the best now. I can't screw up. Everything's going my way. Oh, look how awesome I am, right? And so this would be inflated, right? The other word, I'm just the best than everybody. I'm better than other people. So what's very then common, to kind of make this point very clear, if you go here and you get here sometimes, which is very common, people, well, it seems cool. This seems nice, right? This is what I want. I want to be a winner, just be positive all the time. Everything's perfect and it's all going my way. Well, if this is inflated and not true, and guess obviously what happens? Anytime you inflate, you will deflate and come over here. And now you're deflated, you got the bad attitude, blame others, a coping mechanism, not taking responsibility. And then maybe you'll pull yourself out and you end up coming all the way back over here. And now you're super elated and inflated. It's trying to be super positive all the time. And then eventually, stuff doesn't go well. You don't know how to deal with it. Fly back in here. So we're oscillating back and forth, yo-yo, up and down, super positive, super negative, etc. And so, if you haven't seen my video, I talk a lot about, being cautious of this be positive mentality. And this is just kind of a short recap of exactly what that means. So this is not what a good attitude is. It is not the opposite of a bad attitude. What I would actually call a good attitude is more on this line, which I use this drawing live if you're seeing our other videos. And it looks like this. So up here, we want to be a gamer. We want to have a growth mindset. and they make the most out of their situations, right? So gamer or growth, okay? You're focused on growing and learning. And the whole concept then to think of it like, what does a good attitude look like? Well, like I've said a few times already, they make the most out of their situations. So it's not just super be positive, but like, what can I can control? So make the most out of it. I mean, you're also really key in on like take responsibility, which, you know, responsibility is a huge word. And what that pretty much means is, and highlight for yourself is, what can I control, right? When these things happen, victim, all these things happening to me outside of my control. Learning and growing is about focusing on what you can control and how you can make the most and take responsibility. Okay. Not this stuff, but over here, take responsibility on what I can control. Okay. And you're doing these things, we start to, you know, focus on how we can learn and grow from situations and make the most out of it versus the why is this happening to me, and blame and complain and have a coping mechanism to make excuses for the tough situations you're in. You can't avoid tough situations. You're going to get both, but let's use them to propel us forward to grow and not this. And then the other big thing that I like to always highlight, and you may be seen before, this is intrinsic. Okay, this is more meaningful. This is internal reasons for why we do things, to grow, to gain. Like, why do we compete? I made a video about that. Why do you compete? To learn and grow versus just to be better than others, right? Intrinsic. Again, all of these concepts are interrelated, but this one's all about why somebody might have a good attitude. And I like to write good here in quotations because it's not, you got to be careful of those judgmental words of good and bad, right? And because good and bad, you're going back and forth. I'm awesome. I suck. I'm good. I'm bad, right? And we whine and we complain, and then we get overelated or we get deflated. And so this concept really breaks it down. And again, so obviously that's intrinsic up there. What's down here? Extrinsic, okay? And so we want to learn to let go of like, oh, it's just being good and bad, worrying what other people think, having excuses, thinking you're the best. Extrinsic focus, mentality, mindset, not going to lead to a good attitude. It's going to lead to oscillating or bad attitude. And we want to be very cautious of this becoming a habit and this lasting for periods of time, hurting performance and well-being, okay, in all areas of life, obviously with athletes, but in any work of life, this is an important concept to understand. Instead, let's learn that we're going to get sometimes outcomes we want and outcomes we don't want. And instead of playing victim, bad attitude, we learn, make the most of it. When things go well, don't get elated and inflated. Let's focus on, hey, what can I control and how can I keep learning and growing? Keep being a gamer and play the game versus just focus on just winning, right? Good classic example of this is you win like the Stanley Cup, like you win. It's like, guess what? You guys keep coming back to work the next year. It's not like, oh, I've now won hockey. Like, it's like, there's no winning hockey. There's winning each year, but like, it's a never ending game. And so this is more this intrinsic concept, focus on what's really meaningful, and it's going to lead to more good attitudes, more consistent performance, and better well-being and a healthier mindset versus when you're focused on down here, which is very common in our society that's highly outcome focused, is down here. So hopefully that did a nice job. Break it down. 3 key distinctions. We know what this is. Be aware when you're there. Use a reset routine, accept, let go, focus, gain perspective, get up here. Know that it's not about being here. And be very clear on this and reflect on these. These are simple things you can add to a daily reflection. Did I do my best to make the most out of a situation? Did I, take responsibility today? What can I control, right? So reflect on these things. Help these become a habit, and you're going to more consistently grow, more consistently have that right mindset, the right attitude, or that good attitude that is so often referred to. All right. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. Send in any feedback, or if you want other tips. This one was sent in. Someone requested this one, so hit it up, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.